My pots have never been burned. And if you think I am telling lies, it's the water from my eyes. She cried, she cried, she cried. Ooh, well, help us now. She cried, she cried. My mama cried, but no tears came to her eyes. She said, I know that things are
WEFM, the Hidden Fresh Sound.
WhatsApp us or call us at 45799. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
And the time here in SVG, it is 7:45, and that means we are joined by Mr. Lyf Compton for today's commentary. Morning, Lyf.
Good morning, Roleza. Morning, Dianna.
Morning.
Nicole, you on this morning?
No, she's not with us today.
Okay.
You're well rested now?
Yeah, I always am.
All right, so.
Last night when I was helping out the Kingsley's program, I tried to hit me on an issue that was trending on social media in relation to some houses in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't really want to talk about that this morning because to me that's not worth talking about. There was a guy from Trinidad, he went on, he spread a lot of misinformation about the whole incident, right? You know what I'm speaking about, right?
Mm-hmm. We just spoke about it,
Yeah. It was basically spread a lot of false information because he put the houses under a project for low income homes, and it wasn't that. This was a different set of things. But I just want to mention in passing, it was election time and people just finding a lot of things to talk about, right? And not just talk about, try to like bring down people's character, bring down people's name for political reasons. And I skipped radio stations this morning. If you listen to morning radio this morning, you will definitely know who to take serious and who not to take serious. You will definitely know this morning because they are the facts, they are what people think, and to push what you think in a situation like this, I think is reckless. Right? To push your own opinion in a situation that's like when the facts are in front of you, I think it's reckless. So I don't really want to touch on that because everybody's talking about that. And sometimes I don't always like to talk about things that everybody's talking about, right? What I want to do this morning, right? I want to speak about a recent incident where 4 youngsters were caught with detained in relation to a firearm and 30 rounds of ammunition. So police allege that they detained 4 youngsters in the Walford area with a pistol and 30 rounds of ammunition, and they arrested and charged these youngsters. 3 of them are from the Port Avenue area, and 1 is from Lady. Now, they were charged and they were taken to court. One of them said they were guilty, that the firearm and the ammunition is, and the other 3 from the Port Avenue area said that they don't know anything about it, it does not belong to them. Now, the court's decision was to remand the 4. Police say the investigation is still ongoing and they remand the 4. Now, I don't know if people are aware of the background of these 3 youngsters, the ones that are specifically from Port Avenue. They are children of men who murdered in this dispute that is the ongoing street street war, basically. And it all comes back down to the legacy that is taken in St. Vincent the Grenadines with trauma, right? One of the guys, he was actually there when his father was, two of the guys were actually there when the fathers were killed. The father was basically killed in front of them.
Mm.
And no other situation has anyone ever tried to get a psychiatric intervention for any of these guys. Right, good. Right back around. And this is a serious problem in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because one of the guys that was remanded on Monday when they appeared in court, he also has another charge before this one. Well, they know everybody is innocent until proven guilty, that's what the law says, but he also has another charge, attempted robbery, attempted murder, firearm possession, or whatever. And he witnessed his father kill in front of him. And as I said, there's never been a point in time where there was any intervention for any of them, where anybody took them aside, where anybody saw it fit to get them psychiatric help, counseling. There was never a forum or a space where they could express how they feel, what witnessing these traumatic events did to them. And as a result, it seems that this cycle has just started back. And tell you something, right? Dr. Ralph Gonsalves' son, Sam Gonsalves, he had made a post on social media about, in relation to what he says is that some civil servants sabotage the government, right? And this is a fact. This is a fact. I know this is a fact 100%. I experienced a sabotage of a project aimed at helping people with psychiatric issues. And it was a full sabotage. And what this does in relation to trauma like these guns, when they see the parents killing, when they see the fathers killing in front of them, it just helps to start back this cycle. And we might say, oh, that's not our problem. But it is definitely our problem. You see, there's an allegation of one of these guys going on a robbery where innocent people were involved, where shots were fired, where people's lives are threatened, and that brings it into the public domain. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have a comprehensive psychiatric program or counseling program that could help people who go through trauma like this, and I know it can work in helping some of these people realize they have issues, realize they have trauma, how to deal with the trauma. It's time enough we start to take these things very seriously, because it affects the entire society, not just people who we think are involved in criminal underworld or involved in criminality. It affects the entire society. So we keep an eye very closely on this case to see how it turns out. Because as I said, one guy plead guilty, the other three plead not guilty. The prosecutor says that they're not going to join any charges against the other guy, they're going after the guys, right? So that's my contribution this morning. Point is, we need to take mental health seriously. We need to take trauma seriously. And we need to have a comprehensive program to address this type of thing in society. So that's my contribution this morning.
All right.
So thanks for listening.
No, don't go yet. You know me. So I hear what you're saying, right, Lyf? I hear what you're saying in terms of the gruesome nature in terms of this young man or men seeing family members die in front of their face, right? I am not discounting that trauma can play a significant part in terms of how an individual turns out. But what about a case where we see that? I mean, the thing of it is that I don't think that any of us grew up with a perfect childhood, right? All of us may have witnessed something, experienced different things that have, in some ways, shaped us into who we are today. Where does the place or the position of personal accountability fall into this discussion? Because there are some persons who go through certain things in life, but they take a completely opposite turn, right? They don't go down the same road that, let's say in this case, their father or family members did. They have completely said, I am not going to ever go down that road because I do not want for my life to turn out that way. So yes, trauma is or does step in or does play a part, but what about personal accountability?
Yeah.
Lyf.
There are people that take personal accountability and don't go down that line, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have any ideas globally of men that commit suicide is?
No, I don't. Mm-mm. But I know it's higher than
Globally.
females. Mm-hmm.
Globally, on average, one which equals to approximately 1,440 men every day. I say that to say this, right? There are people who take personal accountability for their actions, but they do not go down the road of violence, robberies, anger, whatever. But what happens is that these feelings are bottled inside. And we can clearly see the results of battling these feelings. 1,440 men die daily of suicide. And the reason why, the reason why this stat for women isn't as high?
Let me hear why.
Because men that commit suicide, they do it more lethally than women. So basically, they blow out the brains, they shoot themselves, they hang themselves. You understand? They jump off a building. Women are more slow with it. They take pills, which is something that when somebody finds them, they can go and pump them out. That's the only reason it's really less. They don't want to mess up their face by shooting themselves. They don't want to go through the process of hanging themselves. They don't want to jump from a building. So the majority of the women try to overdose on pills. It's very hard to kill yourself by overdosing on pills. So yes, there are people who take accountability and say, well, my parents went down that road, or my uncle or my brother went down that road, but I'm not gonna do that. But then the feeling is bottled inside, and they don't know how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Which shows that the importance of having some sort of intervention.
Okay.
And people just want men to be strong. I knew a guy whose father was killed in front of him, right? And before he was never aggressive, he was never angry. And one day he was on the block and somebody said something to him. And totally out of character, he kicked the guy in his face. And when a relative said to him, why did you do that? The answer was unexpected. Boy, see my father get killed in front of me, I don't want nobody to tell me nothing. And this was totally out of character for that person. So it just shows that he was battling his feelings and he had no idea of how to deal with the feelings that he was battling.
Okay. That's a good point.
I could remember there was there's a comedian I like to watch. And he had told a story about a transvestite guy that was in the audience. And he just roast transvestites, right? And he said he roasted this guy. And the guy was really calm about it. The guy laughed or whatever. And then he said they became friends. He could open his shows because the guy was an aspiring comedian. And they were friends and they would talk all the time. And he never suspected that there was any trauma in this guy with anything. And then he walked up in the morning and his friend had killed himself. Even though that the guy killed himself for. So it shows that yes, people deal with trauma differently. But the result of people withholding trauma and not getting help is 1,440 men killing themselves every week. So I know I take up too much of your time already, right?
It's okay. It's okay. It's a conversation that needs to be had, though. Yeah. All right.
So my point is, we need to take some serious look at these things. It's not to find people.
Okay.
And a lot of people in civils are running from the field of psychiatry. Which we need some more that. We need plenty more that in civils, to be honest. All right. Thank you very much for listening.
All right. No problem, mate. Have a good one today.
You.
Thanks. All righty, so that was Lyf with his commentary this morning, and it was on how do we address the cycle of violence and criminality in SVG.
Well, I do agree with Lyf that some sort of outside help is needed, and I do agree with you with the accountability as well. I think there needs to be both. The accountability for your actions, regardless of what has happened to you, as well as receiving help from professionals to try and get you on the path that you need to get to. I'm tired of talking about mental health. And at this point, I've been to the people seriously. So I don't even feel like to say that again. But the brain is a very, very, very interesting thing, and different things affect the brain differently. And sometimes things happen that you don't think would affect you a certain way, but it does, because I've never studied neurology or anything else to do with the brain, but it's just really incredible. And sometimes some of these things that happen, we don't expect it because we don't know that the body works like that. But things do affect people differently. And I mean, we're in the 21st century where mankind is doing the most incredible of things, creating all sorts of amazing inventions. You can even sit down and begin to think about how they came up with this. But we're struggling with helping people out with their mental health.
Yeah. All right. I think what I also got from Lyf's commentary as well, and it made me, well, as he was speaking, made me question, whenever we have situations of, let's say, an individual who was killed in front of another, whether it's a child or an adult, does the state, because if you have witnesses, does the state decide to provide that person with a counselor, or is the onus on that individual to possibly seek counseling? Because one of the things that we also need to recognize in Vinci, many of us don't talk out our problems, right? We probably might wait until it gets to a boiling point and we vent, right? And we blow up at people. And it's the same example that Lyf gave with the young boy, where he, at that point in time, because it had reached a boiling point, he reacted physically towards it. But, you know, I think one of the things, and maybe this is even if there are enough around children who have witnessed certain incidents, immediately, it would be great if the state is able to step in and provide counseling. Now, if this is actually being done, somebody could just confirm. I have no problem with just confirming that, but it is just something there to know, because we really do need to find a way to talk our problems out. We don't need to let it get to a point venting and throwing tantrums or even reacting physically towards another individual. But early intervention, as Lyf said, is also very important for us to help to at least curb that cycle of criminality continuing. Because I'm sure that if many of these fathers who have died violently could return, they just might advise children to go down the road that they went down, because they saw the ending of how it turned out, and it wasn't of any benefit to anybody. So that early intervention is important. So yeah, that was Lyf and his commentary for this morning. I just want to say good morning to Annie Thomas, who is there on the live. So we are going to head on out. It is 8:04 and our time check came to with the compliments of New Haven Funeral Home. And when we return, those of you living overseas, I want y'all to chime in, all right? So we're going to head into our next segment in a few.